And hopefully this records on our live custom stream. Because it is season 3 and we are super duper live, but a lot of people are probably watching some ads right now because they pop up really quick. Anyways, welcome everybody. Welcome to ClearPropTV, Paratalk.org. And of course, if you're listening to us, it's PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast. We got way too many names, but anyway, welcome to the show, guys. My name is Sean Simons, also known as PPG Grandpa. You can find me at iflyparamotors.com. I teach over at paramotorarkansas.com, so if you're interested in learning how to fly, go check it out. Tonight is going to be an incredible night. We got Ryan Rides, also known as Ryan Ross, or is it Ryan Ross, also known as Ryan Rides?
Yeah, that's it.
That sounds good. He has a lot of really awesome information when it comes to the drones. We've been talking about the drones and all that stuff, so we're going to be talking about that tonight. He has a lot of information. He is a professional drone drone pilot. There we go. Yep. Professional drone pilot. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and go around the panel real quick and say hi to everybody. First of all, let's talk with Jim from Canada A. He's our official sponsor of the show. He just packaged up a bunch of those calendars. He's going to be sending them to me with a bunch of other stickers, and we're going to be sending those things out. So if you want some paramotor calendars, go to paramotorcalendar.com and get some. And Jim, tell us a little bit about your company, what you do, and once again, thank you so much for being our official sponsor.
What do I do? I print and I fly. And so, yeah, good fun. If you want to get some printing done, I'd be happy to do the printing for you. And you just need to go to carepp.com and connect with us, and I'll make that happen.
And send it on out. If you want your very own calendar, he can actually make your own calendar. So if you got some really good pictures, like 12 good pictures, and you want those to be a calendar, get up with Jim. And he also has a promo code. So if you want this calendar with your own pictures, what is that promo code? And how do they get that 10% off?
PPG Grandpa gives you 10% off.
I need a shirt that says PPG Grandpa, I'm worth 10%. Excellent. So so Jim's going to hook you guys up with some excellent printing decals. They call them up in Canada. We call them decals, but stickers, calendars, whatever you want, get up with Jim. Tell him that PPG Grandpa sent you, and he'll get you 10% off of anything that you do, even if you want to print money. So print money, right? No, not money. Okay, anything other than money, he can do. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Jim. We appreciate you being our official sponsor of PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, ClearPropTV, and Paratalk.org. We also got Will Fly, the PPG guy. What's up, buddy, old pal?
Oh, what's going on? Merry Christmas.
Man, I see snow in the background. Is it really snow? Yeah. I see the hat. Are you Santa?
I'm actually sitting out in my front yard in a short sleeve shirt, suffering for you guys, but hey, no, Merry Christmas.
Excellent. You also have a channel too. You do Just the Tip, which is tips for paramotor pilots. And how do we get up with that? And have you done any lately?
I've not done any lately, but I've got 2 in the works simultaneously, Just the Tip 6 and 7.0. And just go to willflyppg.com or just go to YouTube and search for Will Fly. Should find me.
Excellent. Speaking about .coms, Jim, did you tell everybody your .com, or did we forget that?
Well, I do have careppg.com, and that you'll be able to check out my paramotor shenanigans.
Okay, excellent. We got to say hi to Linda Anderson. Linda Anderson, she has the pom-poms. Go ahead and show us the pom-poms. And look, it's Christmas pom-poms. Christmas pom-poms tonight. Welcome.
I know. I just love it. I love my job. You
got the best job ever, and you got us all booked up until like February. So if you guys want to be on the show or be on the panel, get up with Linda Anderson. Go to ParamountUSA.com. Tell her that you want to be on the show, and she will hook you up.
That's right. That's how we roll.
Absolutely.
Thank you, chatters and listeners, for being with us tonight. It's Monday night. I can't believe I've been with you guys. Is it going on 3 years now, right?
4 years. We're gonna be 4 years.
years?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, time flies. I tell you.
And so do we.
I've
Yeah,
been having
time
so much. I know.
time
Oh,
flies. So do paramotor
oh.
pilots.
No.
Sorry, I
thank
had
you
to get
so
the
much.
dad joke in while I could.
It's okay. It's okay. It took me a minute. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess. No, but welcome everybody. Welcome Ryan to the show.
Thank you.
To our Crazy Monday. We're very happy to have you here, and welcome my panel and everybody. So let's enjoy the show.
We're gonna have the best show ever. Thank you very much for being here, Miss Linda Anderson. We appreciate you. And we also got Joshua Marsh. Joshua Marsh, PPG. What's up, buddy, old pal?
Not much. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. You got your own .com too, don't you?
Yep, ppgjosh.com.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. Now, what are you gonna be doing for us in the background?
I'll be playing a bunch of his videos, showing what he does. Hopefully get much as I can in there.
Thank you very much. All of our panel does amazing things, and I definitely appreciate everybody that jumps on the panel. We also got Scuba Steve, which is going to be Scuba Steve. You're going to be our first person in 2023 on our very first show of 2023, aren't you?
That's what an honor, I'm telling you.
The
That's
first
exciting.
one for season 4. What are we going to talk about then?
Hey, good question. Because I'm still a newbie. I'm way newbie compared to like Ryan or anybody else, pretty much that's on the panel. Yeah, I'm a new guy. My ribs are healing though. I broke a rib or two on this side, but it's getting a lot better. It no longer kills me to sneeze or cough, so that's a
good.
big step
good.
up.
Well, that's
So
a
hopefully I can
very
get back.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Not
Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope that y'all all get brand new paramotors under the tree, but we know that ain't gonna happen.
It might.
Wishful thinking. That would be the definition of a Christmas miracle.
Yes, it
Right?
would. Yes, it would. We'll definitely have to do that. Well, thank you, Scuba Steve, for being on the show, being on the panel, and of course, we got Mike. He's been on the panel for a while. Glad you're here, buddy. Thank you so much. And now it's on with the show. It's not about me. It's not about the panel tonight. It's all about Ryan. He's going to tell us some really interesting things about these drones. But first of all, for people that don't know you, Ryan, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
For people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into paramotoring?
So I've been flying drones for it was probably about 5 years at that point. I was really into it and I was really enjoying it, and I had just gotten my my Part 107, which is a drone license from the FAA, and I was looking more into general aviation and what what it would take to get in the air and be a pilot. And I started looking at some GA training videos and stuff on YouTube, and I ended up stumbling across the Tucker Gott video. I'm sure everybody has been at that point, that point in time at some point in their PPG career, and that was, the catalyst that got them into it. What I didn't realize is, at first at least, was Tucker lives about 20 minutes from me. And after watching a multitude of his videos, I started recognizing some of the areas that he was flying in, and I was like, wait a minute. And I finally figured out where he was flying out of, and I kind of tracked him down. And when I got to the park and I met him, and I sat there and I watched them flying around, him and Jeff and a bunch of other guys. And a couple weeks later, I went back and I met them again. And this time I had brought my drone with me. And it became apparent very quickly that I was getting, as much as I enjoyed flying the drones, there was no comparison to being up there yourself. I missed the ability, or I was missing the ability to experience it and be part of those views and feel that air in my face and dip down, being able to kind of like just experience it and not see it, I was stuck in a 7-inch monitor on my remote. So I started digging into paramotor and following Tucker, and I met some other guys that were local, and I started following them and hanging out with them when they came to the airport, and they started teaching me a little bit here and there, and I finally got one of the guys to sell me his gear, and the rest is history. I just went head first into it and never looked back. It just became everything. I was obsessed.
Now
So,
you were doing for 7 years. You were a professional drone pilot. So for
well,
7 years, you really were up in the air. You really seen a lot of stuff, and you got some really amazing equipment. But the difference between that 7-inch monitor and being up in a paramotor is really different.
oh, very different. I was at the time I was a professional photographer, and having the drone as a tool in my arsenal for photography was great, but again, it it doesn't compare in any way, shape, or form to being up there. And I think the drones tied back. It kind of went full circle for me, because when I took my first flight, I got off the ground, I got over the treetops, and I had that oh my God moment. It was that momentary flash of fear, like, I'm really doing this. And then I looked around and I was like, wait a minute. I've seen all of this before. This is not out of the ordinary. This is totally normal. So it became almost second nature to be in the air very quickly for me. And I think that might be what makes me weird, is being in the air, even though I had never flown before, uh, became second nature to me very quickly, and it felt comfortable very quickly.
Yeah, I had drones too, not professional. It was just, fun. I was doing drones for years, and I just love to go fly. I mean, I felt like I was, flying when I was looking at my monitor, and it was just incredible. And then it's like, wait a minute, Tucker got, and same with me. It's like, oh, I found
Yep.
a Tucker got video, and it's like, man, I got to do this. And once you're up in the air, after doing drones, it seems like it's about the same. Now, one of the
Yeah.
things that you were talking about too on the pre-show is the drones that are doing like what Amazon and stuff like that. So there's something new with the FAA. What's going on with that, man?
Okay, so there's a new, well, it's not really new. It's something that that the FAA is starting to approve, that was discussed for quite a while in the drone world, and that's called BVLOS, which is short for Beyond Visual Line of Sight. Uh, when you're flying a drone legally, you are not supposed to be beyond visual line of sight at any point in time. You should always have visual reference of where your drone is for safety reasons. This waiver that the FAA is approving now is for companies and individuals to be able to fly their drones well out beyond where you're allowed to, or where you're able to see your drones. Now, normally this wouldn't be such a big deal if you're dealing with something like a Spark or a Mavic Mini or one of the smaller drones, but most of the drones that these companies are using are delivering packages. They're ag drones. They're on the larger side, and we're talking drones upwards of 150 pounds. And for me as a paramotor pilot, it's terrifying. But me as a drone pilot, I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. But at the same time, this beyond visual line of sight can cause safety concerns for us as paramotor pilots, because if one of these drones ends up in a collision with a paramotor, it's not just going to be a cut line and you can throw your reserve. It's, if one of these things hits you, the prop alone, it could be deadly. It could have deadly consequences, because these drones are not small.
Wow. So right now, what are the rules? They said that so they can go fly. Do they have like, some sort of LiDAR or ADS-B or something
Some
on them?
some of the drones have LiDAR. The ones that they're approving have to have certain technologies, and the FAA wasn't very clear on this at the outset of the BVLOS life, I'll call it. When BVLOS was first a concept that was introduced, it was very unclear as to what kind of technology and requirements were going to need to be in place in order to be approved. Now the FAA has gotten better about it, and they've actually started laying things out. And there's actually, if you go onto the FAA website, you can actually look up the waivers of any individual that's gotten a waiver over the last 3 or 4 years. And one of my 2 waivers are actually listed there if you look my name up. But I've got those for the drone show. So, but in terms of BVLOS, they have to have some sort of either LiDAR or optical recognition for other aircraft, because the standard is to use ADS-B receiving equipment, which is a good thing. But as we all know, not every GA aircraft and not any paramotor or ultralight pilot has access to that to prevent any type of mid-air collision. It's all been a game of keeping your head on a swivel and always being situationally aware. But these drones that they are approving have the capability to, or are supposed to have the capability to recognize and avoid any type of potential object that's flying.
They should, but as of right now, I know that paramotors are supposed to give way to any commercial or N-numbered aircraft.
Right.
So drones are not manned. So what's the rules between that now?
And to complicate that even further, some of these drones are going 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. My drone that I use, my cinema drone that I use, it's an Inspire 2, has the capability of flying at 60 miles an hour. And if that comes in contact with somebody, again, it could be catastrophic. So what we are responsible for is there is a reasonable expectation of avoidance for us as paramotor pilots, correct? So if we can't see, we can't avoid. So it is actually on the drone pilots, it's the drone pilot's responsibility to make themselves as visible as possible, which means the anti-collision lights, they should be using anti-collision lights for visibility, because drones that are low to the ground, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I find when I fly my paramotor, anything below the horizon that is not an odd color, whether it's blue or fluorescent yellow or whatever the case may be, it doesn't stand out. It blends in to whatever's on the ground. So having those anti-collision lights is going to be key. And I think they're also limiting the speed that these are allowed to fly.
What's the speed that they're allowed to fly then? If they can fly 60, what is their speed?
I don't have an exact number. I'd have to look it up.
Do they have a height requirement or the lack thereof?
And that's another thing is these. I'm assuming from the waivers that I've seen, I haven't seen any waivers that give them the waiver to the height restriction. So they are limited to the 400-foot ceiling that is typically mandated by the FAA. Anything above 400 feet requires a waiver from the FAA. So I'm assuming that if they're doing any operations, it's 400 feet above ground level.
And so I got a question. So in GA, I know we have right-of-way rules.
Mm-hmm.
So they have similar right-of-way rules, I would assume, with that. And then the limit of 400 feet, that's good. And like aircraft as well, anything after like I think 1996 has got to have anti-collision lights. And I might be wrong. Will might be able to correct me if I'm wrong. But so I've been studying just PPL stuff, private pilot stuff, and I'm getting close, but the weather's not working out for me. But I would hope that there would be like maybe a public access or some kind of available tracking for these drones, maybe like a universal tracking website that you could maybe look up.
And
Yeah.
that actually goes into another thing that the FAA is currently working on and implementing is something called remote ID. It was actually supposed to be implemented the beginning of this year, or sorry, in a few months actually. It was supposed to be implemented, I think, in May. It actually just got pushed back for another year because of a few technical reasons. One is there are no good solutions for remote ID in place yet. There are a few out there on the market, but none that are universally accepted, and none that are, I think, approved officially by the FAA. So they still have some work to do on that.
And see, a lot of the stuff too is that there's a lot of other, not just paramotor pilots, but there's a lot of other ultralight aircraft that fly that don't have to have ADS-B.
Right.
They don't have to have a requirement as far as height goes. I mean, you can't go to Class A airspace, which is 18,000 feet. But and then under in the GA world, I know they have that speed limit for like I think under 10,000 feet, it's like 250, and that's pretty fast. I mean, that's an aircraft, but I don't think I'm sure drones and military drones can go that fast. And like, I wonder how many military drones will be flying more now, I guess, with that approval in the MOAs, maybe.
Well, the military drones are classified completely differently, and they don't. They have
No rules.
Yeah, basically
limited. Let's just
like
say
their
limited
pilots.
rules. They have limited rules. I don't know a lot about them, but I do know that they have limited rules in terms of where they can and can't operate. They still have to abide by air traffic law and all that. So they're weaving their way through traffic, but they're doing they're doing whatever speed they want. Honestly, I don't think those drones are limited to 120 knots.
And I don't think they're limited to 400 feet either. They're probably
No, absolutely not. Those things are going up to 20,000 feet.
Yeah,
They're
and
trying to,
I mean, you took your drone pilot's license how long ago?
4 or 5 years ago.
So yeah, I mean, I just recently took my FAA written test, and there was a law enforcement officer, who took the same exact test that I did, but he was doing drones. So I mean, you kind of got to know the same stuff as well as any pilot.
Yeah,
and you guys are considered pilots, so
it cracks me up because so many people buy drones and they're like, "Oh, I took it out in my backyard and flew it." And I'm like, "Did you take your test yet? What test?" Most people don't know. And it's not through necessarily any fault of their own. It's just ignorance of the law. They don't know that it exists, so they don't go to research it.
Yeah.
There's no warning. There's no warning warnings on the packages saying, "Hey, get your Part 107 or take your trust test so that you can fly this." There is none of that. The companies don't care about whether you get licensed or not.
They just want to make money and sell the drones.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember when I was flying like little small helicopters, remote control ones, and rockets, stuff like that, way before the even they came out with the FAA R107, Part 107.
Mm-hmm.
So
it kind of like ruined it for a bunch of people, or they're just like, screw it, I'm gonna fly it regardless.
I was in that group of people when I was flying recreationally before they just before actually. I think I got my first drone like 6 or 8 months before they implemented Part 107, and I was pissed. I was pissed. It was like, now all of a sudden I've got to get a license? What's this all about?
So real quick, I haven't flown drones in a while. Are you talking about commercial drones or just private drones?
So there's two different classifications. It's not the drone itself, it's how you're flying it. So if you're going to fly for a business, or if you're going to fly, I think the official terminology is for the betterment of a business, whether it's for your own or somebody else. If somebody is flying a drone for YouTube, if somebody's flying a drone for their website, anything like that, or if they're selling the footage to a neighbor, it has to be commercial. It has to be under a Part 107 license. Outside of that, if you're just flying a drone to have fun, or if you're flying an FPV drone and you're out playing in the park, weaving between trees and whatnot, that falls underneath the trust test, which is an FAA test for recreational flyers.
Okay, so you need a license to fly, take video. If you're taking the video and you put up on YouTube, you need a license.
Technically, yes.
I did not know.
And
that.
then I didn't know that either.
It's a really easy test. I mean, especially if you're a paramotor pilot, you'll pass it, no problem. It's a really easy test. The
If
trust
you got
test.
trained, if you got formally trained, it'll be easier. I'm not going to
There
say
you
it's
go.
easy, but it's easier. I self-taught to get my 107, and I struggled for months before I took that test, and I passed it with like a 93. So,
Right on.
Okay.
but
well,
yeah, there's different levels, Sean. It's
hmm.
it's if you're just flying recreationally, it's just taking a written test of basic safety protocols and that type of thing. That's part of the trust program that the FAA has for recreational.
Okay. Is that the one that you have to like register your drone and put your?
You gotta register your drone no matter what. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I registered the drone. I don't remember the test, but golly, it's been many years since I've been flying a drone. And once I learned about paramotors, that drone has been sitting up there collecting
dust. Yep.
But you don't have to register it if it's under 249 grams, right?
Not true.
Not true?
That might have been the case, I think, in the beginning, but then
I think they changed that.
Did
Yeah.
they
Oh, they
really?
changed it. Wow.
Yeah, I think they did. Actually,
So now
it's
those
funny.
little tiny ones that are about this big, you got to register too. Is that what you're saying?
Well, anything that you're
What about-
flying outside, it's anything that you're flying outside. If you're flying a drone that's this big, good luck
Okay.
outside.
Okay.
So
Good
I got
luck
this for
flying
my
that thing
daughter.
outside.
I got this for my daughter for Christmas just because it was at Walmart and it looked cool and it's like a miniature drone. But I mean, I'm not gonna show which one it is because I don't want to have to get copyrighted or whatever. But this one would
It's the
have to
flying
be probably
ball.
registered. Yeah, it would have to be registered. Like I know
No.
because it can go outside. Okay,
It's
cool.
not
That's
controlled.
it. Is that an
Yeah, so you
actual?
just
Is that an actual drone or is that one of those floating ball
It's
things?
it's like a
floating
magic.
ball.
It's a floating magic
That's
hover ball.
not a drone. That's not a
Yeah.
drone.
So
Well,
when
you
we
know,
say
some
when
people
we
would
say
argue that.
drone, so when we say drone, we're talking about being able to control this thing further than the 15 feet that
Right.
Mike's little thing has.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if it can fly outside, then you need to register it. And if you fly it and you take any video, then you need to have the Part 107. Is that what you said? But
That
if
is
you're just
correct.
flying around having fun, it's a trust test.
Yes. Let me.
Okay.
Yeah, and in fact, if you want the Part 107, you basically have to take the same test as any GA pilot that's getting their private
Yeah, and
pilot.
if you
Now they
if
get
you-
different versions of it, but you basically
Yeah.
have to study it. And I studied that thing for a while and took the pre-test and was just getting like 75, 65. I did get an 85 or 83 actually on it, not a 93.
See, that Part 107 thing is mainly, if you're making money off your videos. So if you make a video with your drone and you put it on YouTube and you monetize that video,
Mhm.
they can say, hey, you're making money off this.
Yep.
You need a Part 107. So you have to be real careful about that stuff you put on YouTube.
And there have been
Gotcha.
some YouTubers that have gotten zinged for it.
And see, I just got the 360. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I was just looking the same exact thing up. There should be something on that page. If not on that page, then on another page for the trust. I was just looking up the trust actually.
It's a tough test. I mean, you got to just be familiar with terminology and understand some basic. I mean, it's easy once you understand the terminology and you understand the right-of-way rules and the airspace, and it's basic, good general information for even paramotor pilots. I mean,
And you know
I'm
what?
just surprised that they don't make us paramotor pilots do it. I mean, drone pilots, I kind of get that, but the same time,
You know,
it's weird.
Hmm.
Mike, it's actually funny that you say that because I've brought up paramotors to on a drone pilot forum, and most of the drone pilots that were on there were going off about paramotor pilots being a joke because we don't
Yeah.
have to take a test and we don't have to have a registration and we
Yeah,
don't
you don't
have to
have
be
to have
trained.
training.
Yeah, we don't have
yeah.
to be trained. But in the same token, we're also human beings that are in the
Yeah.
air, and you
Yeah,
have to
sure.
respect us for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
they're
as
machines, they're flying, and that's what I'm saying.
exactly.
Those things go fast. And if they're not, beyond visual line of sight, that's just, I think, and it's in its infancy. So really, it could have potentially a lot of holes that they're going to have to close or
Mhm.
figure out in the beginning. I mean, potentially could cause a lot of harm to either a lot of aircraft, or generally ultralight pilots, including paramotor pilots. They could potentially start seeing more accidents, and that would be, I don't want to say that, but I mean, it's
And
kind
that's
of not on
honestly
the table.
one of my biggest fears with the whole thing is, we can do our due diligence all we want. We can be, 100% on our game, looking around at all times. But that drone comes up behind you, and it's a 150-pound drone. There's nothing you can.
doing
There's
60
nothing
miles
you
an
can.
hour.
Yeah, doing
Yeah,
60 miles an hour. There's nothing you can do about it because you don't know it's there.
You're probably not even hearing it because your motor's so fucking loud.
Exactly.
Excuse my language. Apologize
Well,
for that.
even 1 mile an hour faster, that's a big difference when you're in the air.
Absolutely.
And if they get curious at, like, what's this? I can't really make out because my drone's video is kind of fuzzy. What is this thing over here? And I just fucking, excuse me.
I'm not hearing it anyway because they got them big ear cups. You
Right.
can't
Well, yeah.
hardly hear anything.
They want to buzz you. Like, I mean, what would be and then you said it has some right of way rules with the drones as well.
Yeah, they have to give right away to aircraft, to manned aircraft. So in that phrasing by the FAA, we actually have the right of way.
Oh, good.
Okay,
I'm glad
so-
that was finally
Well,
in there.
So
I was gonna say,
What-
'cause
what
I know
part-
in
what
GA
part is that
aircraft,
listed
even
under? What
I'm sorry?
part is that listed under? Did they specify a part, like part 191 or part 91? I mean, did they specify the part? Because we fall outside of most of the regulations. And so we fall under part 103. So do they specify what part they mean when they're talking about all aircraft?
Or
it's-
did
it's
they say manned aircraft?
they say manned aircraft.
Okay.
Let me see if I can
Oh,
find
yeah,
it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, manned aircraft.
Yeah, it's stated as yield right away to manned aircraft.
And see, we still fall under the ultralight section. And then even like if a powered parachute isn't excuse me, I can't talk, isn't even considered an ultralight because it's usually probably weighs over 254 pounds. So and from what I understand, you're required to have a sports pilot's license to fly those things.
That is a misconception when it comes to the powered parachutes. If it is a single seat and it's under 254 pounds, it can fly under FAR 103. However, if it's higher than that, or if it's weighs more than that, or if it has the double seats, it has to be, or if it's N numbered. So if it's
Yeah.
not N numbered and it's under 254 and it's single seat, it can fly under the FAR 103.
Okay.
Thank
Because
you
then
for
I know
finding
like
that, Josh.
right away rules is still like going from like balloon, glider, to weight shift control device, and
Actually,
stuff like that.
That actually brings up
maneuverable.
That actually
Yeah.
brings up another point. The beyond visual line of sight, when the FAA did their community meeting, I actually sat and watched it. A lot of balloon pilots and balloon organizations spoke up in opposition to BVLOS because they don't have the ability to see and avoid.
Yeah, they can see, but they can't really
Hot air
avoid.
balloons.
Oh, hot air balloons? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They
agree.
have no way of avoiding it.
Yeah, I know it
And-
usually comes down to who's more maneuverable, and I would think drones would be more maneuverable than paramotor pilots. Paramotor pilots are more maneuverable than balloon pilots, and
Right.
This is crazy. Before we go much further, it is 7:30, so let's go ahead and see if there's any questions in the super chat. Will?
Yeah, you got a couple of questions. I think we pretty much covered this one. Did you give up drones? And you haven't given up drones. You just added another sport, right?
I did actually. My current job is drones, and I'll get to that in a little bit here.
All right, cool deal. And James says, if it was approved, do you think they'll approve like a radius, like sectional and display it on the sectional? And then he says, for
That would
example,
be a good idea.
radius around a warehouse and shows restrictions around the warehouse, things like that.
So you're talking about for like airspace, like an airspace restriction,
Yes.
I think is what he's trying to say. Okay.
Well, yeah.
For if there's going to be like an Amazon warehouse that has drones operating out of it, I'm sure that there's going to be some sort of annotation on a sectional or a NOTAM, which is very easy to find out. If you're flying in an area that is even remotely close to any airport, you can look up that airport and find out if there are any NOTAMs for the area, so that you can fly safe and be smart about it. And if there's a NOTAM in place for a specific area or building, then you just avoid it, because that's where the drones would be. If they do it right, that's what they'll do, is they'll put a NOTAM up.
Now, I know that aircraft, when we look on sectional charts, you can kind of see the skyways. You
Yep.
think that they're going to put something like that as far as drones, is like this is where the drones are going to be, mostly like a skyway for the drones?
I certainly hope they do, and that's
I hope so,
actually
too.
that's a very valid point and a very good idea, that maybe they should put some sort of designated pathway. But the problem is, especially with the like the delivery drones, they're not going to have a set highway of sorts that they're going to be flying, because their customers are going to be so scattered. You're going to have a customer 5 miles this way and then another 15 miles that way, and there's not going to be a designated pathway that they're going to be able to follow.
Yeah, but where are they going to be getting the packages and then going? I mean, are they going to be going to the warehouse, or are they going to be going to other distribution places?
I'm sure it's going to be a specific skyport, if
Yeah.
you will, that they launch from, and they'll set up, they'll set something in place with the sectionals, I'm sure, once they do.
Okay.
I've actually got several Amazon warehouses within a mile of the airport that I fly out of. So myself and the guys that I fly with, we're kind of a little nervous about it and how it's going to play out.
I mean, just think of Christmas time.
Ugh.
I mean, especially if they do a COVID thing again, or God forbid they ever shut us down like they did in COVID. I mean, everybody's sitting at home ordering stuff, and then
I haven't been able to fly in a month and a half because of weather and work. So I don't do
Yeah.
cold weather flying.
yeah,
But I can tell you, it's if you do, and there's an Amazon warehouse, be aware of it, because they're gonna be starting soon.
James makes an interesting point. He says part 103 says we're vehicles, not aircraft. Even if that's the case, under general aviation, you still have to remain 500 feet from any person, vehicle, vessel, or structure. So,
but do they
I'm
fall
sure-
under general aviation? You know what I'm saying? The drones.
well, what I'm saying is GA is referring to, if we are indeed referred to as vehicles, then okay, 500 feet from any vehicle. But
Yeah.
I really, I think there's going to have to be a lot more clarification as time goes by. And man, I'm kind of a pessimist about it, because I think that if we're not vocal as a group, as paramotor pilots, that the loudest voice is going to win. And especially when you're talking about commerce and
Yeah, and money.
reels.
Money.
You got the Fortune
So-
500s that are pumping money into it. You know that they're going to have the biggest
They're gonna-
voice, but we as a community need to step up and be heard. We need to, we need to step forward and say, no, we need to be able to do this. This is our right. We are manned aircraft. We have right of way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
and I can see the potential for technology to help advance those drones and their tracking.
Oh,
or
absolutely.
their their visual line of sight, beyond visual line of sight. Like these things should, and like I can just see the potential for technology to grow, as well as like maybe it should be a good idea if companies are going to do this. Maybe instead of having all these different routes for these drones, and this is just me thinking randomly, like you got a landing spot or a spot where a drop off spot for drones. Like this is where you come pick up your drone.
Yep.
And you got people working like the little air drop off spot, like making sure everybody's not stealing people's packages. Like I think that would be a little better idea. But then again, I'm not the 500 corporate, Fortune 500 corporation.
I still can't wrap my mind around if these Amazon drones are 150 pounds and they have multiple packages, where are they going to drop them? Are they going to put them on your doorstep and ring the doorbell? I mean, where does it go, right?
What Mike was saying was absolutely right. They're going to have designated drop-off points that are spread out throughout communities so that you can go and get your package from that drop-off point, or you can meet them at the drop-off point. If you tell Amazon, hey, I want this item and I want it delivered to this location, it'll say there, it'll be there in 20 minutes. And so you get in your car, you go grab it and come back.
Yeah, some of these things launch, like I've seen like their shuttles, they're like little shuttle ramps, and they just launch them off like slingshots.
I don't know that those are going to be the style that they end up using for package delivery.
True, and I worked for UPS years ago, and they were coming up with the idea of your truck is embedded with a drone, and so if you have a package that you could potentially, I watched a little PowerPoint as you would, and it was like the top of the truck opens up, your drone, you hook up the package to the drone through the truck, and then it just flies and delivers a package while you're walking a package to the door. So you get two packages in one time. Like that was the idea when I was in UPS.
It just sounds so dangerous with those blades spinning. I mean, the drones have to have some sort of anti-collision because there's trees, power lines, birds. Yeah. I mean, I just can't see them just sending them out there without anything other than just a front-facing camera. I mean, look at the drones that you get now. They got the radar that goes down low so it knows how high it is. They got the anti-collision from the front and from the rear. I mean, right now, the DJI drones, you can't run it into anything. It'll stop. They're amazing now. And they go around things. So, drones got to be more, got to have more technology than, they got to have more technology than the drones that we fly.
So earlier this year, when I was starting to get into the drone shows, my boss and I went down to Florida for the national. It was a drone show basically. It was a bunch of companies with everything from. I mean, there were paramotor engines there. They had paramotor engines and props that they mount to drones. That's the size. Just think of that for scale.
Jesus.
So some of these drones I could crawl into and be carried away by. I mean, they're legit drones, and they had ag drones and everything else. And there were companies that were specifically specializing in BVLOS. And I went up to probably 2 or 3 of them, and I said, "Hey, what are you guys doing for avoidance for non-ADS-B aircraft for ultralights? Do you have any kind of optical avoidance system or anything?" "Oh no, we don't have any of that." "So what are you going to do?" "Well, we don't know what we're going to do yet." I mean, this was earlier this year. This was at the beginning of this year, and since then, one of the companies that was at that show actually came out with a system that does see and avoid. There's one company. I'm still trying to find it on my other computer right now. But there is one company that was awarded a BVLOS waiver, and they have the technology built into their drones now. They have a system that allows for see and avoid for non-ADS-B aircraft and other drones and birds and other things.
What is this BVLOS you're talking about? I don't understand.
It's beyond visual line of sight.
Yeah, it's an acronym. It's an acronym for Beyond Visual Line of Sight.
It basically means they can fly them without having to visually see that drone, which means and I could just see, I know, like the tech's got to be into this stuff because I could just see potentially, like, I don't know how it falls under. Does it fall under, if they do cause an accident with the GA aircraft, is the NTSB going to do a report because it's GA?
Oh,
Now, if it's an
absolutely.
ultralight, is it an ultralight? Or if it's drone on drone, two different companies are going to be suing each other because one drone hit another drone. And I could just see the potential for, I mean, they got,
Well,
like I said, tech's got to be involved big time.
the
to make these.
the FAA has in their regulations, they actually have a stipulation that says anything over $500 worth of damage done by a pilot, not including the cost of the drone, but any damage done to any property that's above $500 needs to be reported to the FAA and the NTSB, and they will investigate it. So if your drone lands on a car and breaks the windshield, guess what? The FAA is getting involved because
That's
that
good.
windshield's going to cost more than $500,
Hmm.
and they're gonna ask for flight logs and all that stuff to find out what happened and what went wrong, and try and figure out if you the pilot were actually at fault, or if it was something that was unavoidable, if it was situationally driven.
Just like for us as paramotor pilots, if we crash and hurt something or kill some ourselves, I mean, I don't even think the NTSB has to report that or has to follow up on that. But now if we cause damage to something else, property, then potentially I think then they can get involved.
Yeah.
But if it's just you and yourself, and so I'm glad that they have restrictions on the drones, because if God forbid that was to happen, and like I just hope it never happens with the technology that's out there, it shouldn't be. You know, it's worrying. So it's definitely
tech is moving
got
so
me.
fast these days, especially with drones. It's amazing. It's actually mind blowing how fast things have evolved and advanced. So I have no doubts that in the next 2 to 3 years, you'll actually start seeing these things in the sky, and they'll avoid you. You know, as long as you're not doing wing overs into them, I think they'll be able to avoid you.
There's got to be something else too. I mean, there's ADSB, the little small ones, and they have the ADSB in and out, right? So I mean, if we have something that just puts out that we're out there as an ultralight, it should really help with the drones because they got ADSB, right?
Well, some of them do. The remote ID is going to be a form of identification transmission that the FAA hasn't decided on. It hasn't been standardized yet. So there's a bunch of different companies that are out there trying to come up with the best solution to get it approved. But for right now, I honestly, if it was up to me, I would have an ADSB on my paramotor. I would have it mounted to my unit, and I'd have a little flip switch, and I just turn it on before I took off. This way, everybody knows that we're there.
Yeah, the problem is they're just so dang expensive.
Yeah, they are.
And then the certification process would be astronomical for a paramotor pilot to have to, bear the cost of that.
What do you mean?
Well,
Will, what do you mean?
In other words, it wouldn't be something you could just go down to your local 7-Eleven and pick up an ADSB. And those things require certification. They have to meet certain standards that the FAA has set forth. So I don't see, like Ryan was saying, technology, yes, it's growing in leaps and bounds. It's probably hard to take me seriously wearing this Santa hat. But
yeah, me too. With the, it's very worrisome. It's like just.
So when it comes to GA and the ADSB, it has to be certified. Now they also have drone ADSB, but they haven't certified the drone ADSB, which is small enough and something that we can put on our paramotor, but it's for unmanned aircraft. So what do you think, Will, because I know that you're GA and you're paramotor pilot, what do you think would have to happen for us to get something that is ADSB? I mean, would we have to go through some sort of certification to have it on it, or just something that transmit that said that we're a ultralight?
I think the transmit's where you're going to get into the problem. The receiver's no problem. You can keep track of other people. I can see that happen, and actually it's available, right?
Yeah.
But as far as the actual sending out a signal, I think that's where that's where the whole problem lies.
And ain't that also with an ADSB in and ADSB out? There's like one report your position, whereas the other one or both of them, you can see other aircraft.
There's in and out, right? So the
Yeah.
out would just be, sending a signal out and letting other aircraft know your speed, location, stuff like that, just general information. But I mean, man, the whole ADSB thing, it just kind of bothers me because I love the sport. I love the pureness of it, and just like getting up and flying and not having to, mess around with other technology. I got enough going on with, cameras hanging off my helmet and stuff like that, electric gloves.
Yeah, especially then you'd have to carry another battery probably to keep that charged.
It's a
Yeah.
battery, then you've got to have the transmitter, and doesn't it also have it has to have some sort of sensors for the speed and all the other and altitude and stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just another thing to manage.
Yeah.
And
It's like it's like transponders and altitude reporting.
Yeah, honest to goodness, I cannot keep my batteries charged on my GoPro.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's because GoPros
GoPros
are traditionally, I mean, their batteries have always sucked.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
let's be honest.
Can't get an SD card error, and I could record a 5-minute video, and I'm thinking I'm recording an hour, and then I get home, it's like SD card error. Oh, great.
Yeah,
Great.
it just shuts off without any reason whatsoever. You've been there, done that.
Hey, I got a question. I'm looking on Amazon right now at the drones, and they have. I'm really like, dang, they got mini drones, beginner drones, advanced drones. So, like they have them for kids. Does it say when you open the box? Does it say how high you can fly these things? Like, will they fly over the house and that's as high as it goes, or
Nope.
how does that? I'm just curious.
I know some of those drones have like at least I've seen some of them when they get so far out of radio reception, or then they return to home feature, like have it, and then they basically come back to
Those are the
signal.
more expensive ones, though, like the DJI and stuff like that, right?
Some of the third party ones, the cheap knockoff Chinese knockoff drones are actually, they're getting better. If you're looking to just get into drones and fly, they're great for learning, because if you crash them, you're at $200 instead of 800, 1,200, 15,000, whatever the case may be for a professional drone.
Dang, man.
Yeah,
John,
they
you
got-
brought up something that you were having trouble wrapping your brain around, and I still have the same problem, because I live out in the boonies, so I can't imagine a drone freaking flying 35 miles from wherever to drop off a package to me. So I'm thinking that this is probably going to happen around more populated areas where it would make more. Now I could be wrong, because I don't know how this is going to work. But if that's the case, usually those are areas I don't fly around anyways.
Part of the reason that they're looking at the drones is to actually deliver to the remote areas to save fuel costs.
Really?
Well, now okay, I heard you hear. This is I don't know if you can see it. This is the.
Well, and like I got the FAR. It's 2021, but it's set in here with the ADSB out. It's got, I'm on 91.225 if anybody actually wants to pull one out and follow the aircraft Bible. It says like Class E airspace at or above 3,000 feet MSO over it says Class E airspace within the 48 continuous states and the District of Columbia, at or above 10,000 MSL, excluding the airspace and at and below 2,500 feet above the surface. So like, then it's not really required technically, and that's why your ultralights don't really have to have it. And there's so much more. I could sit here and read this and take up all the rest of the show, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm just trying to.
Can you all see what's it showing there? Is it showing a?
All I see is Class A. I just see like parts.
Yeah, shrink your screen down a little bit.
Yeah, it's like I only see a part of your screen. And speaking about that, guys, if you're listening to this, make sure you go over to ClearPropTV.com. That way you can watch the show. But we definitely appreciate you guys listening to PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast on your favorite podcasting app.
Let's try one more time.
Okay.
How about that?
There
we
you go.
We can see.
Okay. Okay. But again, now you're talking part 91 and now we're under part 103.
103. Yeah. So we're not required. And that's what I'm saying. It's required for some aircraft and those rules. I would think that the drones would have to be put into somewhat of a 91 or maybe not. I don't know. There's so much unknowns to this.
Now, the thing that's tricky is if you put it under Part 91, then you're allowed to fly in controlled airspace without authorization because you've got a transponder. Am I correct in that, Will?
Well, controlled airspace includes Class E. So
Yeah.
they would have to have some kind of, I mean, so the answer, I guess, would be no. I guess they wouldn't have to have the transponder if they're in Class E, which is, and Class E is all other airspace that is controlled, that's not Class A, B, C, or D. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to handle this. It's confusing.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, here's another section. It's like section F of 91.225. Each person operating an aircraft equipped with ADS-B out must operate this equipment in transmit mode at all times unless authorized by the FAA. I mean, so there's like some of those terminologies and words, choice of words they're using for, and that's just for aircraft. That's not even for drones. So I'm sure maybe I have a 2021 FAR aim, so I don't even know if there's a drone section in there. I'm sure there should be.
So did I hear that correctly, that you have to be above 2,500 feet to do the ADS-B out if you're flying GA? Is that correct? Is that what I heard, Will and Ryan?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure about that myself.
Okay. Or did Mike just talk about that?
No, and that's what I'm reading out of. I'm reading out of the FAR aim, and it's under 91. So it's technically it's for aircraft, but it's ADS-B, the automatic dependent surveillance broadcast out equipment and its uses. So I mean, there's like, I don't know how many pages. Like I said, there's a traffic alert and collision avoidance system. There's a terrain awareness and warning system. Airplanes manufactured on or before March 29 of 2002. Airplane flight manual, and there's exceptions to that. And then there's just a bunch of other proverbs, as you will. This little A, B, C, D's, E's, F's, and G's sections of this. So it's like, I just read a random one for operations of an aircraft with an inoperative ADS-B out to an airport of the ultimate destination, including any intermediate stops. Like I said, I could go on. I should finish it, but it says to be proceeded to a place where it's suitable for repairs. So that's like ferrying stuff for pilots. I'd say that's just for ferry pilots. Like I said, I'm still pretty new in the FPVO.
If you're ever having trouble falling asleep, read part 91. It's a great read.
Sounds like
these things are written by attorneys. So the FAA is completely covered themselves. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to say, well, you should have seen and avoid, see and avoid, see and avoid.
Yeah, it's always pilot error. Yeah, it's never the pilot. It's never the aircraft. It's the pilot. And same with drones. It's the pilot controlling them. Now, what happens if they start putting AI into these things and automatically, and which I assume and will exist in these things, like they'll be over a field.
Hey, wait a minute. AI in what things?
Like drones, like they have them in cameras, they have them in computers, artificial intelligence controlling over, like say an agricultural drone spraying a field, like they draw a graph over a field and it stays within that field.
Autonomous.
I wouldn't call it AI. I would call it an autopilot.
Yeah.
It's not AI. It's different. Believe me, with the drone show stuff, I had to deal with ITAR. My drone lawyer and I were back and forth about that. That's a whole other animal. That's self-awareness is what you're referring to, basically.
That AI equipment or whatever, that's not what concerns me. What concerns me is when they start putting self-defense mechanisms on the drones.
I'm gonna start flying with my gun and my shotgun and have a Skynet shot at them to take the drone out.
Skynet, yeah.
They've already shown a drone with a Gatling gun on it. It looked
Yeah.
pretty scary.
Ha-
So
have,
yeah.
Have you seen how the military drones? I mean, they fly like a flock of birds in sync, coordinating. I mean, with China too, they do the light shows with the drones, and they display people's faces with them.
Oh,
and
I've
spell
seen
word.
that. That's incredible what they do.
It is.
Isn't that
It's
what you
incredible
do,
the
Ryan?
technology. It's
That is what I do for a living, actually.
Yeah.
You see Linda, right? Does she have
Yep.
glasses on?
oh, means
Ah,
that's the cue.
Finally noticed.
that was going on.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
that.
we're in a depth conversation here. Like my paramotor flying is
For
gonna get.
Ryan's like, what the heck is wrong with that girl?
So, yeah, are you asking for a screenshot? Is that what you're asking for?
It sounds
Yeah.
like that's what she's asking for.
Thumbnail,
She wants to do
yeah.
a Christmas thumbnail.
Wait a minute. Do you notice?
1, 2, 3.
Wait, I
1, 2,
gotta
3,
take a
fast.
look. I gotta
Get us,
take a
catch us
look.
off guard. Get us caught off guard. That's the best pictures.
1, 2, 3. Ah, didn't work
Oh,
this time.
crap.
So.
Get your eye bug out. Like,
Did you get it? Are we
Yeah, I
good?
got it.
Good now.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.
Oh my
Hey
God.
Ryan, you sounds like you're real connected with the drone community. So how are they taking the more stringent regulations? I mean, I know when I first got into it, actually our stories are very similar because I wanted to get back into flying, aviation, or whatever, in some sort, and I started out with the drone.
Mhm.
And yeah, that worked for a little while, but like you said, I mean, it's exciting for how long, and then you're like, okay, I've
Yeah.
seen my neighborhood, and so then it kind of got me onto the paramotor route. So I mean, how's that community like? Are they up in arms over it? Are they embracing it? Or
From what I've seen in terms of the BVLOS,
yes.
everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants to know how to get it. Everybody wants to be able to fly, at their own leisure. They think that it's the majority of people are thinking, oh, once I get my BVLOS, I can go out and I can fly anywhere I want, and I don't have to worry about being able to see the drone. But it's not the case. I was looking into some of the awarded BVLOS waivers, and there's a lot of stipulations to them. There was one in particular, gentleman, I'm not going to name him, but there's a gentleman that is a pretty big name in the drone community. He got a BVLOS, and today I looked up his waiver, and there's some stipulations that he can't go above 50 feet. He can't go over treetop level. He can't go more than 200 feet away from a structure. Whereas when you're flying under normal Part 107, you can, as long as you're in visual line of sight, you can be 400 feet away from a structure and 400 feet over a structure. So if you've got a 5-story building, you can be 500 or 400 feet above that building and still be legal. But as a whole, the community is excited about it, and they're looking forward to being able to utilize that capability if they're able to get it. But I think a lot of people are overestimating the requirements, and they're overestimating what they think they're going to be able to do with it.
it's kind of like infancy in its stages, like just like the parents that buy their kids a drone. They don't know that there's what you were saying, the trust test, and then F10 or 107, they don't know there's an actual written test you have to take. So I think in the same sense as these big corporations are just throwing money at it, like, cool, I got the BVLOS and I can go do whatever I want, but then they're gonna have to hire lawyers to tell them no, you can't do that. So I mean,
or worse yet, they get in trouble with the FAA, and the FAA doesn't mess around when it comes to fining people. Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, they're gonna make a lot of money off of it. I'd say.
Yeah.
The thing is there's Part 91, Part 103, Part 107. Okay, there's all these parts, right? But there's one freaking sky. And what concerns me, and maybe I don't know if the drone community has even considered this, but once you open up the regulation Pandora's box, that might be great, and it might be great if it was static. But regulations aren't static. Usually they change, and they usually change to become more restrictive than they do relaxed.
Yeah.
So, are you a member? I think Bill H asked if you were a member of the USPPA.
Yeah, I actually saw that when I opened up my window. No, I am not. It is on my list of things to do, but no, I am not.
It's kind of like my instructor. He is now and has been for the last 10, 11 years. But I mean, when he learned to fly paramotors, there was nobody to train him. A lot of people were self-trained back then. It's a lot of the, I guess, goats, if you will, the sport, the guys that have been doing it for longer than I knew it existed. They're probably self-trained, and to this day now they have a USPPA membership, and now they've gone through the stages and taken the different certifications to get to where they're at. But
When
not
they
everybody does that.
when they first started paramotors, they hand started. They took the prop and hand started the motor. I mean, that's where it was back in the day, And now we're like nobody starts it on the back or on the rack. We frown upon people that even use a pole start when they're on the ground. And back in
My
the
buddy
day,
still does it.
they would
I'm
still.
like, whoa, ground starting, man. No, there's a safe way.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. There was one other thing. I put it over here. Oliver said, I heard somewhere that our cell phones that are on us while flying could identify us in the air in the near future. Have you guys heard anything about that?
I mean, the tech's there for sure.
Yep, absolutely. It's there. I think it's a lot closer than we think, and I think that's that's definitely a possibility for us to, if somebody's a developer, it would be a great way to make some money, because that would be a great tool for us as PPG pilots.
It would be awesome. Deweese Milstead said, so if I have a DJI Spark, do I need a permit or to take a test? I don't know how, is it still underneath a certain amount of weight? I mean, it's just, if it flies outside, you need to have a permit or a test?
If it flies outside, it falls under the FAA. So if you are flying recreationally, then you should have the drone registered. And there is a trust, it's called the trust test. The FAA has it on their website. Josh, would you mind finding that for me? Thank you. The FAA has a test that you can take online. It's common sense stuff. Don't be peeping in people's windows. Don't be, flying in and out or flying over people in a park. Don't just be generally respectful to people and fly responsibly, and you'll pass the test. It'll there you go. That was the page I was looking at earlier. You should, no matter what, you should register a drone. It's $5, and if you go through the actual FAA website, they will, through Drone Zone, they will actually keep a record of all of your drones, how long you've been registered, when the expiration of that registration is. I think you have to register them every 2 years, and if you get a waiver, if you apply for, if you get your 107, you can apply for a waiver. The drone FAA Drone Zone will keep track of all of that information for you.
And
So
this waiver is just so you can fly it beyond visual sight.
Well, that's just one waiver. There's a plethora of waivers. There's for flying without anti-collision lights. There's one for flying more than one drone. Those two I have. I have two waivers in my name for flying drone shows for at night. There's altitude. There's all sorts of, if you can think of it, there's a waiver for it at this point. They've covered most of the current capabilities of the tech.
And the waivers are free, or you have to pay for the waivers?
The application, I think, is free. It's just a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of time to make it, to get all the information, the con ops, and there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. Highly,
So
1 out of 10, don't recommend.
So
It's a lot of work.
With the trust test, and that's just for recreational. So that
Yeah.
keeps them under a certain limit as well, as far as altitude, right?
Yeah, they still fall under the 400 feet.
Okay.
Now there was rumors. I don't know if it's true or not, but there were rumors that they were going to limit anybody who is not Part 107 to restricted areas. like kind of like the old model airplane fields where you could go and fly your model airplane, kind of like a mini landing strip or runway. Um, they're talking about possibly making that a thing so that if you have a drone and you're not commercially licensed, then you're restricted to just those areas. I don't know what's come of that, if that's still happening or if they've killed that. But that was a rumor that I heard that it was something that they were working on.
I guess since we still have a lot of people in the super chat, we got 42 people right now watching.
Wow.
You
I
guys
thought we would
are-
have bored them to death by now.
Amazing.
this is
Yeah,
a
it's not
very-
even. It's now. It's a drone show right here.
This
We
is
got.
well. I mean, this
and
is
question
interesting
and
because
answers. It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hi,
because we're
Cheddar.
flying up there. We're flying up there with these drones that, you know,
Oh yeah.
have an operator that might be 2 or 3 miles away or even more. I mean, remember that one? I mean, look at this. Remember that? I'm sure you guys watched it. A guy was flying his paramotor or paraglider. A big bird got caught in his lines. He went down, had to throw his laundry. And when he got down to ground, he, you know, let the bird go. But, you know, a bird took down a paraglider. I can't imagine a drone going through the lines. I mean, one line, especially your A, you're going down.
Yeah, I actually saw a video. They tested it. I don't remember who it was.
Anthony Vella, didn't he do that?
Was it
Wasn't
it-
Anthony Vella that
Avery.
took
thought it
the
was
drone and
Tucker.
flew it into the
Avery.
paramotor?
Who was
Tucker
it?
had some videos. Tucker had.
Yeah, no, it
Tucker
was
did
before
some
that
videos.
too.
Avery.
Yeah.
Avery
There was
flies.
another one. There's a couple of videos like that.
Yeah, there was one that they flew it into the motor, the prop of the motor, but there was another one where they flew it into the lines to see what would happen to the
Oh,
lines.
yeah, that was.
That was
And I
the
wish I
one-
had that kind of money just to throw shit at my paramotor and test it.
Yeah, that was
That's
Avery.
the one that concerns me more. If it hits my motor, it hits the prop's going to destroy it.
That's
So
$400.
it's right, but I'm not dead.
No, yeah, that's true.
You know?
But I mean,
That's the
now with the
important thing.
drone, would they, if they hit, like, so the drone and the restrictions, if they hit us and they destroy our equipment, like you said, with a car windshield,
Oh, they're
now
responsible.
FAA,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
then they're gonna give me a paycheck, which I don't want to hit a drone. Don't ever want to necessarily. I thought about it, flying with the drone, with the ones that are supposed to track you, and I think PPG Gorilla did some of that flying at one time.
John Wayne
Um,
said Greg Anthony Harris, so maybe he's the one. That,
That's it.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
I'm a huge fan of him, by the way.
Yep.
So he's awesome.
who isn't?
Exactly. That guy's a
And see,
superstar.
Yeah. And see, I've gotten a
Right.
360 camera. I ended up buying the Insta 360, and everyone that's been kind of seeing my video is like, "Oh, is that a drone? That's a drone, right?" No, it's not a drone. So like that can be confusing, but no, it's just an invisible selfie stick. I really enjoy messing with it right now.
I have two of them.
Dude, really
I lo-
protect
I love these
that
things.
screen.
I
Yeah,
have
really protect the lens on that sucker.
Oh,
Oh,
I have,
I
one of
bought-
those.
Yeah.
I bought
it lives in that.
Yeah.
I bought mine lives on the selfie stick, and inside that with the little lens cover now. And I ordered, because it can attach to, if you order that little protective case, it'll attach to your GoPro mounts. And my grandma went to a yard sale and found a big old GoPro bag full of mounts. So I have plenty of mounts that I could use that 360 camera on and just stick them all over my paramotor. But
I got the GoPro Max
I'm
360, and that one is amazing.
I'm
Oh, yeah,
my buddy.
I'm gonna be heading down to Florida here in a couple of weeks, and I've been trying to think about how much I want to record while I'm down there because I'm going down for work. But my boss told me, bring your paramotor. I'm like, twist my arm. We gotta we're gonna be in the
You
middle of
twist?
nowhere in a
you're gonna be
massive.
in warm weather. Yeah.
We're gonna be in a field that's 1,200 feet by 1,200 feet.
Wow.
And flying a fleet of drones. And when I'm set up and ready to go, I'm going in the air, and the drones are staying on the ground until I get back down.
I don't blame you.
Well, what if they got their waivers now, man? Then you gotta be head on a swivel. No, just kidding.
Since we have so many people, we got 44 people watching now. So everyone that's watching the show right now that has access to the super chat, what do you guys think about these drones that can fly, 60 miles an hour, be 150 pounds, may or may not have visual anti-collision? Would you guys, I mean, what do you guys think about this? Let us know in Super Chat so we can talk about this, here on the panel.
It's
Was there
definitely
any
scary.
was there any other questions from the Super Chat, or anybody have any questions
No
on the
questions,
panel
but
for
a
Ryan?
comment. You got, is it Olivier? Oliver? I don't know.
Oliver, I think.
Okay, well, I'm sorry if I murdered your name there. I heard somewhere that our cell phones and this is a great point, that are on us when we're flying can identify us in the air with gaggle. And that's very true. So yeah, you're right. The
Yeah.
technology is already there.
And I heard Gaggle's upgraded some of their stuff as well. I don't know exactly. I've read something about that.
Yeah.
Actually help with them on some testing.
I always turn, I
Nice.
never, what do you call it? The privacy settings or whatever. I keep it private because I don't want there to be, if someone's going to have a record of where I've flown, I want me to be the person that has it. I don't want
Actually,
it out there.
one of the things that I found really helpful, especially when you're doing a cross country, I have my location history on Google.
Yep.
And if you look on your timeline under Google Maps, under your history, and you go back to a day that you flew, it'll actually show you the track that you flew. And that's how I keep track of days that I've flown, because I have
No
a
way.
path going up the road to the airport, and then all of a sudden there's all these squiggly lines around the airport because I'm
How
doing
does that affect
laps.
your battery? Does that like chew your battery up or?
Not real. Well, I'm on the S20, the Samsung S20, so it's got a great battery. I've never had a problem with it.
It's the
Um,
same way. If you download Google and you haven't turned that off, there is a tracking mechanism that will show you where you've been at all
Oh,
times.
McDonald's has got a discount on Big Macs right now, and you go buy it and it tells you, if you got the location settings on.
Let's see in the super chat. John Wade said shut him down. 555 says it's scary. Dewey says Milstead said say no, they scare me. Use Pony Express, says John Wayne. James says James said unfortunately I think it's the future. Bill H says
Yeah, it is.
yeah, if I can't get on it and fly it, I'm up for it. Brian Jones said F the drones. Joshua Marsh said I don't like the idea.
I know
Like the drones
Brian.
are always been cool to me and stuff, so I've always liked them. But then now that I fly paramotors, it's definitely, it's there's a lot of unknowns still yet with this new tech and the way
Yeah.
it's going.
Bonnie
So I fly a Garmin
Friends.
InReach Mini, and you can pay subscription fees to get more access and have people track you. It's mainly for my mother, for her to calm her nerves.
Let's see what else we got going on. The drones need to stay away from me when I'm in the air. Says Bonnie Franz. Para Ninja says I'm against it, but I'm too worried about the smaller ones. Yeah, I guess the smaller ones are just as bad. I mean,
Well, the smaller ones are going to be harder to see.
yeah, and I've actually had people follow me and go around me when I'm flying, and only afterwards they say, "Hey, I saw you up there flying. Do you want the footage?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then every time I'd go up, they'd call me and say, "Hey, I see that you're up there. Can I fly by you?" So they asked me, which is really cool.
Yeah, I had actually in the footage that was playing before the podcast, my balloon flight. I was I was flying to join the balloons at a balloon festival. We were taking off from a park. Well, the next park over from where we took off, there were a bunch of people standing there because they knew they were downwind of the airport that the balloon festival was from, and there was a drone that I flew right past, but I didn't see it until it was too late. It was already next to me. It just appeared out of nowhere. So it's the small drones that I'm worried about. The bigger ones I'll see coming, at least.
At least legally, you're supposed to.
Yeah. I see that too. It says at least I can see the V-22s and the C-130s heading my way in the distance. Says
You don't have to see them. You can hear them coming.
Says 10661956. I don't know if that's a date or something, but
maybe his birthday.
That's too long to say. You might need something different where I can say it a little bit easier. Yeah, I mean, it scares me. Those drones do scare me when they buzz around. You know, it's only a matter of time before one gets caught in your lines, and hopefully it doesn't cut. Now you said that Greg Anthony Harris did one through the lines. Did it snap the lines? What happened to that one?
Yeah, it actually, when it was under tension, there you go. That's Google Maps.
That was my flight yesterday.
Yep.
So there's a feature on Google Maps when you're running that app to track, I guess, location security.
You don't
your
even
timeline.
you don't even have to be, as long as your phone is on, as long as the location sharing is on, it's gonna track your location. It'll track you whether you're in maps or not.
But only in 2D space, or does it actually?
Yeah,
before
no,
elevation?
it's 2D only. God, I wish it was 3.
Well, it's like Gaggle kind of got the 3D view, of just kind of like back in the Nintendo days style of 3D. It's still, the graphics ain't quite there.
They got Live
It's like-
Track 24 that will track from your Skyfly High to Live Track 24 and keep track of your flights in 3D. You can play them back in 3D in Google Maps if you want to, or Google Earth, which is really amazing.
And
Yeah.
I could just see this. I could just see in 10 years where this is gonna be
I
at.
can't
I could
imagine.
imagine. Yeah, I
Sean-
can't really imagine. It's gonna be crazy.
I wonder where we're going to be at in 10 years
Yeah,
with
same.
all of this on our, you know?
Hopefully, I'm still flying.
I
it
have-
better.
I have no
Yeah.
comment. I have no comment on that one.
Probably have to have N numbers. Maybe, hopefully not.
I'm just gonna be lucky to make it 10.
I can't see I seriously, I can't see us being regulated as far as getting N numbers. There's just way too many ultralights. You know, anything under 254 pounds that
True,
can
true.
flies, and that's a lot of equipment out there. A lot of things are flying.
And the other thing is, with how fast this sport is growing, it's only going to get more congested. I mean, more and more people are getting into this every year, and it's a great thing. It's a double-edged sword, because it's a blessing because we now have more people to represent us, right? We've got more people to speak up and come to bat for the community. But at the same time, we're going to get even more people who are troublemakers and Chucky Wrights.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
And
what I
so, like, I know there's a new paramotor pilot in my area that I've heard different people come to me and ask me, "Is that you? Is that you?" It's like, no, I fly in this area, but I mean, I have flown in that area just maybe once. And there's a guy in Calwood in this area. And I'm still trying to find this guy. There's a guy over in St. Martin's, still trying to find that guy. I'm like, I want to find all these local guys, so I can at least meet them once and say, "Hey, man, cool." Like, I'm
Which
glad
is
you
real
found me.
important, and why you should track your own flight.
Right.
On every-
Absolutely. And that's why I keep that location sharing on, so that I have that ability. If somebody says, "Hey, you flew over my house," I can pull that up and just go, "No, I didn't." You know,
Every time.
and show them and prove to them that I didn't. So it's a double-edged sword. It's you know, we're letting them keep track of us, but at the same time, in the long run, it could pay dividends in saving us a lot of legal troubles.
Ryan, does your Google timeline though, have you increased the increments of where it actually registers? Because most of them, it's like every 5 minutes or every,
I think mine sets every minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you
Hold on,
could
what
see that one that was shown earlier.
It's
was
jagged.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the refresh rate on it.
I just realized it's almost 8:30. Joshua Marsh has to get on out of here.
Thank
So
you, Josh.
Josh,
Appreciate you.
thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Josh.
No problem. I gotta keep a day job to keep this hobby up.
Merry Christmas.
Exactly.
I know.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, man.
Yeah, Merry
Appreciate
Christmas,
it.
buddy.
Go
And
ahead.
I forgot to ask you too, Ryan. How long do we have you for tonight? And here we are. It's an hour and a half, and I didn't even ask you. How rude am I?
My girlfriend's waiting to take care of. We've got you can't see it behind me, but we've got an entire room of lizards that we have to
Oh,
maintain
cool.
every day.
Oh,
We've
wow.
got 40
Okay.
something,
Iguanas?
40 something. No, they're geckos. We've got different
Oh.
geckos.
That's cool. I used to
Crested
have one of those
geckos and-
water
Do you know-
dragons.
Do you know
You take them
Brent?
flying on your drone?
No.
Do you know Brendan, the reptile guy?
No, I don't.
Reptileguy.net. He is really famous in the reptile world.
You
Okay.
should get with Geico and do commercials.
Yes. You have how many? How many geckos?
We
Like
well, if
collection?
we've got several different kinds, but we've got, I think it's like 43 or something, 46, somewhere in there.
Oh my gosh.
It's an
How long is the
entire.
lifespan on those guys?
I've been living here for about 5 years. I've been with my girlfriend for about 6 years. I've lived here for about 5 years, and we've had the same ones. So I probably about 8 years, 8 or 10
Oh my
years.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
That's
They
cool.
probably live 100 years, so you know.
Yeah, like turtles and other reptiles can live pretty long. Yeah.
They're fun though.
Might
I
outlive
think they're
us.
fun. They're fun.
Okay.
they're cool.
Questions?
Will is going to say hello to everyone, all the chatters that we've had. We've had, I think, almost 50 people watching or at
Nice.
the same time.
Thank
So,
you.
Will, are you going to say hello to everybody? Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Hello, everybody.
Hey, hello to everybody.
Tanner,
Yeah, no, the chat's been, they've been tearing the chat up tonight. It's been
that's
really
awesome.
interesting
Thank you
topic.
so much.
Hey, you know what? I just saw
Definitely.
in the chat, my buddy, actually show it right here, Pennsylvania
Ah,
PPG.
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
My buddy Kenny,
Nice,
shout out
Kenny.
to him.
Kenny,
Yeah.
what's Kenny's last name?
I got some stuff.
Shatner.
Uh-oh.
I know Kenny. He knows me. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Kenny's
Yeah,
a
I
real
was
good
there for
guy.
his very first flight. He was on one of my videos. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I love flying with him. He's a lot of fun.
Don't tell him I said that though, okay?
Yeah,
I like
be
your
very-
logo there, Will. I like your little logo. I just kind of now noticed it.
Yeah, thanks. Let's see, we got Sean Simon's in the house, Bonnie, Silly Bon, Franz, Joshua Marsh, John Wayne, Jim Care, PPG, Samar, Angela Preslick, since I missed her last
Thank you for
week.
the Christmas card.
Bill H, Michael Jasper, Semperfly, PPG,
It's me.
Susan Ray, Chris Altmeyer, Mad Sloper, Just Want to Fly,
like Chris.
PPG, The Other Nick, Goldie Teal, Scuba in the house, Mike Thompson, PPG, 555 Geriatric PPG, James, Guardian Service Dogs, Deweese Milstead, Wade Collins, Brian Franz, Greg
Dee.
Laney, Lift Paramotor, What's Up Austin, Hot Butter Productions, Para Ninja, Shannon Brooks, Zach
Hey.
Gannon, and Pennsylvania PPG. So yeah, Wade Collins said he's looking for an app that will help him track his mother-in-law.
Oh, that's
They used to
hilarious.
have that. They used to have that with the family. What was that? AT&T had family tracking at one point, or maybe
Yes.
still does.
There's an app that I use for my kids called Life 360 for
Yeah, I
family
was
Oh,
gonna
tracking.
yeah.
mention that. I was gonna
Yeah.
mention that too. My mom pays for it, and then I'm also on there. And when I'm flying an airplane, out of all the people in the Life 360 app, you have your totals of miles driven and your speed. So I'm always like hitting 127, 135. So I'm always like topping the speed range. And my grandmother's like, "You better not be." I'm like, "It's in the airplane. It's not in the car." But yeah,
Kenny actually, I'm sorry, just while I'm thinking about it, Kenny actually helped put
Good.
my last paramotor together.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Wade
you gotta come
Collins,
back down. You gotta come back down so we can fly, man.
Wade Collins also became a member of our not only our show but also the channel here, and he is ClearPropTV VIP. So welcome, Wade, and thank you for becoming a member
Welcome.
of
Yay.
Welcome,
this
man.
I
podcast.
have a question for all the panel members. I've gotten this tip steering line for my new glider, and there's just images on their website to put together. And I might need to make a video once I figure out how to put it on. But has anybody ever put on tip steering lines before?
Yes, I did.
Like, does it take like 25 minutes in the field from what I read?
Yeah, it's at most.
All right. And I haven't seen any videos on it. And so it's like, I wish somebody would just put a video together about it. But I mean, maybe that'll be me and maybe not. I don't. I don't know if I have the
Are they-
time.
Are the tip steer not installed already? Are you trying to
Not
go
on-
from tip
not
steer
on
to
this glider.
2D?
So I have TST. I have the glider I'm flying is a Hadron 3. It's got somewhat of like an integrated tip steer lines, but everywhere I've read they kind of sit higher than your brakes. So then you're kind of up here more, and so it's got the capability, but the glider itself for that version of it didn't come with the tip steering. I had to order it specifically for the 16-meter Hydron 3. And I just said, I don't want to, I might just take it back to my instructor one of these days and say, hey man, help me with this. Oh, it's easy. I know. I usually try to do all the things on my motor and my glider myself. And when it gets to where I get confused or lost, then I'm reaching out.
I think
Okay.
you'll learn the most having someone go over it with you and show
Yeah.
you how to do it.
Yeah, because it's my glider, and if I do something wrong, I don't want to turn
Yeah.
left and just keep going left.
Yeah, I'm going to be replacing a line on one of my gliders. I got a APCO F3, and one of the lines is the sheathing is nicked. So I'm going to replace that, and when I do, I'll make a video when I do that.
I've had a few.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I have a friend, Dave. Shout out to Dave. I can never pronounce his last name, but he's had some experience replacing some lines. So he showed me how to do it, but visually seeing it when it comes down to it, it's kind of simple, but I have yet to actually replace any of my lines. So
Well, we got a lot of people in the super chat, so let's go ahead and ask them. Have you guys out there in the super chat, do you know of anybody that has done a video where they replace the lines, or have you done that? If so, please post the link in the super chat. If you cannot, just send it to me at ppggrandpa@gmail.com, and we will move that along over to Mike so he can see it. All right, so it is 8:30. I don't want to go too late tonight. I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. It's ridiculous. My wife is like, "You're gonna come to bed early, right?" So it's Christmas and
time to snuggle up, huh?
it's cold outside.
And I'm coming to Florida, so if anybody's down in Florida and they want to link up, I'm going to be in the Jacksonville area doing some drone flying, doing some drone show flying soon. Beginning the second week of January, I'll be starting the second week of January. I'll be down there. So if anybody wants to link up, hit me up. I'll be happy to come out and fly.
If only your drone could pick me up in Missouri and bring
Right.
me to Florida with you, I would go carpool or car fly or
So it looks like Para
drone.
Ninja did one line in a day.
lines in a day. Yeah, I've heard about lines.
I've heard of them too, yeah.
And he didn't do a video. The hard part is mentally figuring out the loop knot at the top. John Wayne said, I replaced the lines on Bill H's wing. Guess it worked out okay.
Now, we'll see.
But I would never replace my own lines.
That's
Well, I got a
funny.
guy. He's like, no, I always just go to my instructor for anything because he wants to make sure that he doesn't want to screw it up and then hurt himself. So he's always kind of going back to the instructor, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, or just send it over to John Wayne. He'll take care of you.
Oh yeah, John Wayne,
If you do
reach out to
something-
me. I'll just
If you do something yourself for the first time, you really have no way of knowing for sure that it was done correctly.
Right.
Whereas if
Yeah.
you have somebody show you, you know what I mean, or at least do it yourself and then have someone look at it.
Yeah, and you
yeah.
have
I
to
mean, I
be
did that with
careful
my
too.
carb. I rebuilt my carb, and I went to Mike Mixer's fly-in this year, and I rebuilt it. I'm like, yeah, it's great starting up on the ground, but as soon as I gave it throttle, I think I mentioned this before, it would just kill it, and it was just I didn't know I needed to adjust the low jet like a couple minutes.
It's very
minutes is-
possible too, and if this happens to you guys in the future, you might know what's going on. If you replace like or if you do the rebuild and you put the new gasket on, but you get the wrong gasket, they look the same. I just did in one of my last videos. It was WTF is this, WTF is that. It was one of the classes that we do. It's for people that don't know anything about paramotors. We have different pieces of the paramotors, and we always ask, what do you think this is? And then we take it apart and take a look at it. But if you look, if the gaskets, they look like they could be the same, but they are different thicknesses, and there could be a little notch or a little hole in one. If you turn it around the wrong way, that little hole is not there, and it'll start up, but as soon as you give it some gas, it bogs down on you. Another thing too, if you didn't change out the carburetor or whatever, but you started it up and you're having problems with it keeping idle, and you bend over to get your, pick up your risers, and it starts to bog down on you or die, it could be that little port that is right by your piston. So you take the head off, and there's a little port there that's about a 7/16. You drill that out. If that gets clogged up with soot and stuff, it'll bog down on you. You might want to check that too.
I just noticed what happened to Scuba. Where'd Scuba go? Did he leave?
I'm sitting right here.
Oh, now I see you. I had my screen scrolled down.
I do need to go. I said in chat, I need to go. I know Josh already left, but I need to roll out.
Oh, you need to go too? All right,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope
Merry
everybody has a great
Christmas.
Christmas. I'll see y'all next week.
Sounds
Merry Christmas.
awesome.
Yeah, man.
All right.
So like back with the carb things, yeah, Sean, you're right. Like, so my carb came with the Walter Bro carb came with this extra gasket, which it resembles the black one. You're supposed to use a black one. I think my instructor told me this is like for regular fuel. I don't really quite know. If anybody does know, mention it to me. But I forgot what it was for. But I was like, why couldn't I use this one too as a backup? And he said, you really don't want to. It's made for other reasons. And yeah, they just send it with it, and you shouldn't even use it. So.
How many people actually rebuild their carburetor once a year, and how many people actually buy a new carburetor? Because I'm going to tell you right now, every year, whether it needs or not, I'll take out the old carburetor and I'll put in a new one. But then again, the old carburetor we use for students to take apart and play around with. So it gives me something to do. It's not like I'm just wasting it. But does anybody else just replace their carburetor every year? Or do you rebuild?
My engine is 2 years old, and earlier this year I actually took it apart for the first time and did it. I didn't rebuild it, but I did clean it out, and I kept all the same gaskets and everything because everything was in excellent condition. There was no dry rot or anything. Everything was running great, so I didn't want to mess with it. Next year I will probably end up doing a full rebuild on it though.
Yeah, what I've noticed when I rebuild mine. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
How many hours do you have on your paramotor?
On this engine, it's I'm at almost 70 so far. So I'm coming up on a rebuild soon.
Yeah.
Like
And
what I've
also-
noticed with older ones. Sorry, Sean, you go right ahead.
I was just going to say, Parrot Ninja said decompression port. That's correct. That's that little. It's that little port right next to the pistons, decompression port. Thank you, Parrot Ninja.
Yeah, I rebuilt one and I just ended up, but I didn't put it back on my motor. I just bought a new one, and so I would have a spare in case I needed it. There's a lot of good videos too on how to do carb rebuilds. And
Yeah, I
they're not
rebuilt mine
difficult.
and it's easy.
Yeah, but make sure, because I have had this happen, make sure that you get the right kit. I ordered the right kit and I was sent the wrong kit. So
Yeah.
if things don't like fit perfectly or whatever, probably not the right kit,
Yeah. What I've noticed with the gasket on mine, because it was used as a trainer, and then I used it I flew it a few flights before I bought it. But I noticed, like, once I did the rebuild, like the gaskets and everything looked fine, but they were almost like ballooned so much that they were bogging. That's why I kept having bogging issues. So I rebuilt it, and then, no one tells you. I guess some of the videos might tell you. Maybe I just skipped through that part, but they just never mentioned anything about adjusting the load yet. And that was just trial and error, and just had the instructor to help me out. He come over and just, that's it. Good, try it out. Been great ever since. So.
Yep. All right, we are dropping people left and right. We're down to 27, 28 people right now,
Okay.
and
I'm boring. I'm sorry.
I mean, we had such a great discussion. Everything was really awesome. I really truly appreciate it. I mean, Ryan, you amazing how quick an hour and a half goes,
Yeah, it is.
and definitely appreciate you. Any other questions from the super chat guys? Any other questions on the panel before we head on out?
I think we're caught up.
Sounds
good.
good. Well, thank you everyone in the super chat.
Thank
I've been
you.
trying to watch it over here. I got it on the big screen so I can see without, have my goggles looking like, what you guys doing? A lot of good stuff there, guys, and we definitely appreciate y'all.
Yes.
Don't forget that we also have our audio podcast. So if you don't get to watch this live, don't worry. You can always just search for PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast on your favorite podcasting apps. Or just go over to paratalk.org and there's everything all lined up for you. You can find us every Monday, even next Monday, which is the 26th. We got Christopher Altmeyer, and I think I saw him in the super chat too.
Yay.
So he will be here next Monday. So can't wait
Yay.
to hang out with you guys. And
Fun.
tomorrow, don't forget that Will Fly and the gang has the Paramotor Hangout. If you want to tell us a little bit about that, Will.
Yeah, man, it's a group of guys, and girls get together and just chit chat, and it's kind of like hanging out flying around the fire pit and just kind of talk paramotors or whatever else may cross our mind. Tomorrow night's topic is going to be about how paramotoring changed our lives. So
Ooh, that sounds like
Cool.
a good topic. Yeah.
I already covered that.
yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. And you can go to, what is it, Shane? Sean, Shane,
ppgshane.com.
ppgshane.com. Thank you.
Absolutely. And then on
See you guys
Wednesday night, you got Jade and the gang, right? Jade and the gang at Paramotor Girl. On Thursday night, I'll let Linda tell us about Thursday night because apparently she's the mom of a very influential boy.
That's right. Oh, so paraglidingtalk.com on Thursday nights with my awesomest son, Robert Michaels. And every Thursday night, come and hang with us. Jump in the chat. It's a lot of fun. And
don't
if you want after show, jump in the after show. I'm there too.
9 p.m. Eastern.
Oh,
Central.
yeah.
No, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's when I see it. 8 p.m. Central.
Yeah. Which is way past my
when
bedtime.
When I jump on, it's 9 o'clock my time.
Way past my bedtime. I'm usually in bed. I'm like, oh darn, I'll watch them tomorrow.
Oh my God. I don't sleep till like 1:30, sometimes 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I should have tuned into Jade's show too, because they had, Hot Buttered Steve and Kyle. It seemed like probably a good, funny show. And then your son's show, I've watched before I knew there was paramotor shows, and I didn't, and it's now I got the two to align. Now I understand that's your son, so that's awesome.
Yeah, yep, it's a lot of fun. I love Thursday night. I love every night this week. I jump in everybody's chat and I support everybody, and the shows are just rolling right along. And
everybody knows
you. It's fun.
You are the most popular non-flying, non-pilot person in the
See, I thought she was always a pilot. I just always thought that she was, but she's her mom.
I know. I'm ready to tandem in May. I'm ready to go back to church and
And don't forget also, Gavin does a really good podcast. What's Gavin's podcast? Cloud-based mayhem. That's it. Cloud-based mayhem. If you
go to paramotorarkansas.com and it'll have the shows listed.
That's very true. If you want to, if you don't know, go to paramotorpodcasts.com, and that has a list of all the cool podcasts, when they are, where they are. So it's really awesome to be able to see that.
And then you get in the other one that has all the events that Eric Luer put up, the PPG one. And
Mhm.
when you scroll down to the Torchport thumbnail, you'll see this lady on there. I think you'll recognize her.
It's
So I'm on the
you.
thumbnail. I was so excited when you did that.
It's you. I know you.
It's
Sean and
pretty
I
cool.
apologize.
It's like
I've been
seeing the
meaning to get on.
magazine. Pretty cool.
Sorry.
Also, want you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
One more thing too. I know last week we talked about it, and they did a map, but unfortunately, right now it's only for mobile devices. Last week we were able to look on it on the screen. So Pendulum Junkies is just for
Oh.
mobile devices,
That's a cool pic too.
but that's where you can put your information on and you can see where all the other pilots are around you. So I know that we talked about where all the other pilots. If you go there, you can find it out. Hopefully they'll put it back to where it's not just mobiles, because it's neat to be able to see right here.
I think I when I did I think I registered on it and I did it on the computer, but did they switch it?
Yeah, I got a text from him saying that he fixed it all up and everything's working. And then when I went there to show it, it's only for mobile devices. So I can't really show much on it, unfortunately. So maybe if you're watching this, fix it to where you can watch it on your mobile or a computer. That way I can show it on the computer. Also, too, don't forget, we have our very own Jim from Canada, Jim Simard, if I say it right. He makes all the decals, the paramotor calendars and stickers and everything else. If you go there and you say that PPG Grandpa sent you, he'll give you 10% off. And where do we need to go to be able to do that, Mr. Jim? Oh, you put yourself on mute and he's trying to talk with himself on mute. That doesn't work. Mute doesn't work.
Always.
I just released the thumb, or the space bar. Go to carepp.com to connect for printing, and CarePPG if you want to check out YouTube videos. And hey, Ryan, I am absolutely beat, but man, I really loved this show. I loved hearing about all this
Me
stuff.
too.
Thank you.
And I so wanted to hear about the light show.
Oh, the drone shows. I'll tell you what, Sean, if you'll have me back, I'd be happy to come back and we can talk some more about that. I don't even have to be the main guest. I can just be on the panel. That's fine. I'd love to share more
You
about
can come
that.
back every Monday and you can be part of the panel. Please come back every Monday.
Thank you.
and be part of the panel.
Yeah.
It'd be good to
Thank you. I
stay up to
appreciate
date
that.
on that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that we have more and more questions about this drone thing too. So when it comes up, you'll be our expert.
I don't know about expert, but as I like to
You'll get
say,
there.
I know enough to be dangerous.
Hey, does anybody know Uncle Tony PPG or Pennsylvania?
Yeah, that's my buddy. That's one of my buddies.
Yeah, they're chatting in the super chat. So you're bringing people over here. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. That's cool. Yeah.
Uncle Tony and his wife are always out at the airport. He flies and she does ground support for him. They're a great team. They really are.
Wow. Huh. Okay. Well, it could be future guest.
That sounds good.
I'll talk to him.
That thing. Yeah, Ryan, please.
Linda's
DM me.
always thinking.
Give me some info.
And
Serious. Yeah.
we also got Mike Crotchet. We don't want to say crotch too loud, but that's his name. Darn it.
Hey, say it like it sounds.
I know, right? So, Ross number 5. He's been our panel member since he's been our guest, and we definitely appreciate him and all of his snowman-looking hats.
Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me come on the show, and thanks for the opportunity to be a panel member. I got some cool hats. This is one of my favorite hats. When they were doing the Area 51 thing, Bud Light came out with some apparel. It's got a little alien with a peace sign.
Nice.
That's
And,
cool.
it actually glows in the dark if you charge it. And then I got a shirt to go with it. I was trying to get the Bud Light cases, but they were selling out, and people were buying them on eBay and flipping them for $200-300 for a 12-pack to 24-pack with the
Wow.
special print. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So
Wow.
Wow.
yeah, I got it. Man of many hats.
That sounds
A man of many hats. You're like me with my rodeo hat. Everywhere I go, and I travel all over the place, man. I stop at those vendors, or else they would give us hats and jackets, and I got all that stuff. I love it.
Oh,
top-
what was last week's thing? Hold on, let me go back real quick to see what it was. What was our last
I'm glad
week?
somebody
Our code.
takes notes.
Our code. All right. So last week.
Oh, I know what it is, because I'm the one that's
Mm-hmm. So last week we had a code. If you tell us in the super chat what that code is, we will give you a Vortex Arrow travel mug.
Ooh, that's a nice gift.
it is. I got
Very,
one.
very
I
nice.
use
love
one of
it.
those.
It's solid. It's really awesome. This is the coolest gift that anybody can get. Vortex Arrow has given us a bunch of these to give away. So we have a ton of them, not a ton, but we got plenty. So if you know the code, put that code in the super chat in the next minute. Oh my God. Was that it? Or that was the week before?
We're gonna have to private chat because I don't remember.
I do, because I'm the one that.
Oh,
Well,
that was
remember
it. That
that
was
said
it.
it.
Yes. Michael Jasper, that is it. Paramotor on the shelf. Boom.
Ah, yay!
Boom.
Got it.
Excellent.
First
Excellent.
I
try.
could have totally
First try.
used this then. I could have used this tonight.
What is that? I can't even see what it is.
It's a paramotor on
Paramotor.
myself.
On
mean,
my-
Paramotor on the shoulder.
Elf on myself.
It's on
Elf
it's
on
help on myself.
Is that the good elf or the bad elf?
I love it.
That is awesome. Michael Jasper, please go over to podcastwinners.com. Follow that information, and we will send that out to you right away. Michael, do me a favor too. Text me tomorrow. Write this down if you don't already have it. My cell phone number, 501-747-3558. If you don't have this number in your phone, write it down, put it in your cell phone. If you want to talk to me about paramotors or anything paramotor related, please give me a call or text me, 501-747-3558. Michael Jasper wins tonight's awesome
Yay!
super code.
You guys don't
Congrats,
leave.
Michael.
That is so cool. I was
I have
thinking,
to go
Congrats.
get something. I'll be right back. Don't
Jasper.
all right,
don't
let me
leave me.
write that
I'll be
down.
right back.
You're gonna like that.
Be
Coach.
right back.
Michael
be right
Jasper won a Vortex Arrow travel mug. That is awesome. I'm so glad. That is so cool, dude. Yeah, text me and we'll do it. Semper Fi PPG. Sean Simon, you free tomorrow about 3 p.m.? Been meaning to call you. Call me.
I know it's me, Sean. That's
Just,
me.
just call me. I don't know.
I know,
Who
I
this,
get
I don't know who this guy is, but man, just call me. I keep on telling I keep on telling them these people over here that just call me, but whatever.
I know. I get home. I get off of work, and then I'm like, just trying to digress the day, and then I'm like trying to call my kid and this and that. I get home, and then it's Monday. Oh crap! I literally remembered my birthday. I was up at midnight on the 17th, and I'm like,
Is it
tomorrow's my birthday. I'm like, wow, it snuck up on me this year. I guess showing my 37 years old of age.
Is that a mouse? What is that, Linda?
No, it's my koala.
It's a koala.
Yeah,
that-
this is like the paramotor tree. See, he's flying.
What is it doing on your tree? Is it
Oh,
It's a
wow.
paramotor tree.
is flying your tree?
It's a paramotor tree.
Doing
It
something.
flies?
A paramotor Christmas tree. Yes, and the koala. See, it's a little
It's make believe. Okay.
Is that koala from our Walter?
No. See, I brought out the Christmas tree because I don't have the back screen yet, which if we go in the after show, I'm gonna see if it'll let me do a screen while I'm still on Zoom, but we'll do in the after show and then everybody can go. How's that? See, I had to bring my Christmas tree out because Will had his Christmas tree and I don't have a background screen, so I was trying to hold it so it looked like in the background today.
Hey
So like,
guys,
okay, Linda, okay.
last week, all right, let me ask you something. Was that just the audio that we did for the Paramotor on the Shelf?
Yes,
So,
yes.
so Michael
Oh.
Jasper listened to the show to the end and heard it. Not only did he hear it, but he remembered it, and he's still on the show.
Right on, man.
So, Michael,
Our guy.
Awesome,
Not-
awesome.
Smart.
Pays to
Nice.
stay.
not
Yeah.
only are you going to get this, but I'm going to send some really special things in, like stickers,
There you
more
go.
stickers. Where's that $100 bill?
Everybody loves stickers.
Magic. He's got a magic coffee.
If
cup
I can
with
find that
Yeah.
$100 bill, I'll put that in there too. But
Yeah.
please
Don't
don't
hold your breath,
hold your
Michael.
breath.
Look in your wallet. Look in your wallet.
Dude, I'm
That
so
is
poor. I
cool.
can't even pay attention. Come on now.
That is so cool. Now we'll have to discuss
Yes,
a
yes,
name
we
for
will.
next week.
Yes, we will. So everyone right now that's listening, or actually that's watching, we are going to say goodbye to you, okay, for the people that are watching, but we are going to go to the audio part and continue. So if you want to know the code, make sure that you listen to the show audio-wise to pick up
Hmm.
the code. So goodbye, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Bye, Merry
See you
Christmas.
right after
Bye, guys.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for being here and watching the show.
Absolutely. So we're stopping
Yes.
the live stream and we'll see you soon. All right. So the live stream is gone. So
Okay, I
what are
quit
we?
waving now.
So this is gonna be really cool. This code is gonna be so.
All right, hat's coming off.
This code is gonna be.
I'm not
only easy,
taking mine off
This is
yet.
gonna be so simple, okay? But it's gonna be so simple. But
It is.
what are we gonna do? Let's make the
How about we make it BVLOS?
let's make
Yeah,
the
there's
prize.
a good. I was
let's
thinking
make the
drone stuff,
prize.
maybe.
Let's make the prize something incredible, like something so yeah. Okay. Oh, I know what it is. It's
What?
I'm all ears, man. You got my attention.
What is it? What is it? Oh,
that was all that right there was for the show. It was live. It was still
Yeah.
live for the video part. So I killed So I killed the
good
video.
edit. Good.
I killed the video part. So they're like, what? Oh no, we gotta.
Leading up to it, they're like, no, click in the what's the audio stuff.
Like
Get in
no, it was right there. Let's go ahead and look at. We're gonna check.
And now a commercial from our sponsor.
Yeah, and a commercial from our sponsor. Let's see
Okay.
what our thing is. So we had 124 people that watched. We had 44 peak people watching at one time. Our
Nice.
duration was 1 hour and 57 minutes. Wow, it's almost 2 hours.
Write
That's
all
pretty
down.
good. And all right, that was pretty cool. All right, so we are
Yeah.
still live on the audio part. Well, I guess it's not really live audio, is it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're talking
Live
when
audio.
they hear it on the audio, it's recorded.
Then this is it's one of them pre-recorded shows.
Yeah. So they'll have to actually listen to the
Oh,
actual
I
show.
see.
Which
Yeah.
means
Now
you
we're
got to upload
pre-recorded.
it quickly, right?
I don't
Technology.
I don't know how they did that because right before the show is when I make it live. I don't know how we heard. How'd that even happen?
I think someone on the inside must have told him.
Will, was that you?
It wasn't me.
Okay. Jim, was it you?
Wasn't me.
Paramon, was it you?
What? No.
Oh,
Was it
no, I
Mike?
didn't like how she there's a delay there.
Was it
That's
you?
not right.
Wait a minute. It was Ryan. He heard. And he
Yes,
said-
guilty as charged.
All right. So here is our next week's super code. No, I don't want to say super. Our next week paramotor code.
Super.
No, we're not going to say super. All right, so that will be episode 151. Wow, 151. I love Bacardi.
Okay.
That stuff's tainted.
With
It is strong.
Christopher. All right, so this is with Christopher. All right, so what are we going to do? Oh, it's 151. Let's call it Bacardi.
Oh, call it what?
Bacardi. Yeah.
Ryan had a good one, the beat loss too, but I'm just mentioning.
That was a good one.
That was a good one, but it was said while we're still kind of live.
You know,
Oh,
you
true.
could combine
True.
beef loss
Yeah.
Bacardi.
I
There's
blew
no
that.
reason you can't have 2 words.
Yeah, we got to make it kind of simple. We got to make it too horribly difficult for
We know
I
what
don't even know
Sean's
how to
drinking
spell.
after the show.
I was gonna say, if you want to make it challenging, I can give you one.
All right, what's a good challenging one?
Some more acronyms.
FAR 107.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because we talked about that with the drones.
Yep.
Can-
That's
So
the
it's gonna
drone
be what?
license. FAR 107.
Now, what's the restrictions on Part 107? Now, with these drone pilots, could be drinking while they're
Oh.
flying.
Why don't we
No.
just
Nope.
wait a minute?
I know that
If you're on the ground drinking and you're flying something up in the air, is that
Doesn't
legal?
matter. It's
That's
they can
what I'm
they can
saying.
actually still nail you for that. They can absolutely
They
nail you for
know.
that.
Breathalyzers on
How would
drones.
they know? How would they know?
Well, if somebody reports you to the okay, so hypothetical,
Uh,
you're flying your drone, drinking with your buddies, messing around. You piss off a neighbor. The neighbor comes over. They see that you're drunk. They call the cops. The cops come. The cops report you to the
Report.
FAA.
oh,
Yeah.
And if the cop says, well, they were drinking, then guess what?
but does it
Yeah.
still have to be a .08?
I mean, anything actually.
Yeah, so that's what always worried me too. Is like, you're out with your friends, you're showing off, you're partying, and you got your drone. Oh,
I have
sorry,
I
I
have
just took
a,
out my buddy's eyeball.
I actually have a policy in my company that my drone for the drone shows, no drinking for 24 hours prior to show.
Yeah.
So if you're flying a show tomorrow night, you're not drinking tonight. Period.
Doubling down on the
Well,
FFA's
here's
regs.
something
They're
for
only 8
you
hours.
too. Here's something for you too. You can go get gummy with THC
Yeah, even that.
anywhere.
Yeah, even that. And the thing of that is, if
You could lose your license for
because
that,
it's legal.
right?
Yeah, it's legal. It's legal in states, but the thing is the FAA is a federal agency, so they don't
Recognize it.
care whether it's legal in the state or not. It's still illegal federally, so they'll nail you for it as being under the influence, being
And then
of a controlled substance.
and that's what's crazy too is that you can go to, and maybe one day it'll get there because like with all the pharmaceutical companies, if you have whatever you're prescribed for life or you have pain
That's
pills
okay.
prescribed, and you can go to Walgreens at any state and pick that up and take your medicine, but that's still quite not the same with the THC, the legal side of things, as far as state to state.
Right.
So maybe 10 years, 20 years, who knows, maybe never. But I know I have family who's got MS and they partake in the medical side of things. So
Yeah,
I don't knock
but
anybody for it.
you can go to any CBD store and pick up gummies that have like a .03 THC.
Any gas station here in Missouri sells it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
any
yeah,
gas station
gas
here in
station.
PA.
And
You can
once that went legal, I got the gummies, and that helps me sleep. I've never slept so incredibly well since I've had those
And I
gummies.
can't sleep. I have problems sleeping. And
Yeah.
I've told my doctor it's got to be FAA approved or I'm not taking it because
Right.
it's so.
The
She found
CBD
something that
this-
was.
I've
And-
never
and-
found
and Will-
CBD
and
that
Will-
actually did anything for me.
And Will's
honestly.
got to go, so let's say goodbye to Will and his elf on himself.
Hey, Will,
Paramotor on the show.
Will, before you go, I had a question for you. You're down in North Carolina?
Yes.
Okay. My
Yeah, in
parents used to live. My parents used to live there, so if I'm passing through, I'll give you a shout.
Definitely, man. Yeah, in the Raleigh area. For
Okay.
sure. I'll be down in Florida a couple times next 2 months. One trip in January, one trip in February. But it's not going to be Jacksonville. It's going to be further south. But Yeah, I've
paramotor,
thoroughly
paramotor
enjoyed the
related?
show.
Hey
Yeah.
man, if you're passing through the Jacksonville, if you're taking 95 down, give me a shout. I'll be happy to meet you if I
Yeah,
can.
right on. Especially if you're flying.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the
I
field
need
that
to
we're
drive
flying,
south for flying.
dude, the
I know.
field that we're gonna be flying the drones out of, looking at it on Google Maps, it's like a dream.
Really?
Half of it is paved, the other half is grass, and it's all manicured.
Oh,
And it's like
no.
1,200 foot wide by 1,200 foot long. It's awesome, and it's surrounded by trees.
Okay, but is it what kind of area is it? Is it like congested or just kind of out in the country or
It's out in the middle of nowhere.
nice?
The nearest airspace I think is 5 miles northeast and another 6 miles southwest.
Some Delta stuff.
Yeah, I think it's Delta. There's Delta
Really cool.
south of there. So I may actually I have it's 10.8 miles to the beach. So I'm toying with the idea of taking a flight out to the beach because I've never
Oh, yeah.
done a beach flight
Yeah.
before.
Yeah,
I mean, I fly
absolutely.
20 to 30 miles just in my area, and then I'm like, wow, I could have went to town and back, and
Yeah.
or I could
Yeah.
have went to the river and back, So,
But yeah,
I was
that's on
like,
my
dang it, why didn't I?
that's on my bucket list is to get out to the beach because I've never done any beach flying before.
Well,
We
before you
are
go, one more thing.
we are
oh.
probably going to have a fly-in over at a private island off of Florida this next year. So
Yeah, that was our
Dude.
guest. I want to do that so bad. I definitely
Yeah.
want to go. Remind me. I'm saving up money to go, and my
Yeah,
brother
That's like
might
the
actually
ultimate
go.
paracamping.
yeah, we are going to go. Everyone, I was invited. They said, let's make it a fly-in. So we're going to put it all together and we're going to let everybody come over and go to a private island.
Hell
It
yeah,
would
I'm
be
excited.
really sweet if there was a way to do like a ferry service where you could get drop your gear on the shore and they would
Well,
ferry it over to you
They do.
for you.
They
They
do.
do.
They do that.
Oh, they
That's
do.
what they said.
Yep.
That's how they
Oh,
get there.
dude,
Yeah,
that
you
would be
can't. Yeah,
amazing.
that's the only way you can get over there is by boat.
That
And
would be
Yeah, you can
amazing.
fly
don't
over
know
there,
how
I guess.
far. I don't know how far it is, but if you get high enough and the winds are right, just go up high and fly on over.
I gotta get floats for my mini
Yep.
plane.
Yeah.
I have some. I haven't installed them yet because it's too cold for me to fly lately.
When are
I
you
could have done it
thinking of
today.
doing it?
That's on my list of things to get.
I still want a smoke system.
When are
I
you?
know, Sean. I'm gonna
Fine.
call you tomorrow. I'm gonna make a reminder on my phone, and I'm gonna try to get some sleep tonight.
Sounds good. The code.
You're gonna
for
like the
next
smoke
week-
system, Sean, for a while, anyways. You'll enjoy it.
Oh, I think it's gonna be grand, man. The code for next week, since you guys have been waiting for this entire podcast, and we definitely appreciate you. If you haven't done so already, make sure you go over to paramotorarkansas.com. Use our code WELCOME 2022 before the end of this year. Put the stickers in your cart, and we'll send you out free stickers from paramotorarkansas.com. The code for next week to win something cool will be drone.
There you go.
Easy peasy. We'll
Oh, I
remember
was
it.
thinking of that one. Yeah,
Nice.
Just drone.
there you go. You read my mind.
Ryan, thank you so much, my friend, for being on the show. You are absolutely amazing. Please come back
Thank
every
you.
Monday night and be on the panel.
I would love to. I can probably do it next week after the new year. Like I said, I'm going to be down in Florida for work, so I can't make any guarantees. I will let you guys know in the guest chat. I'll keep you guys up to date.
Sure.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
All
No
right.
Now,
pressure,
I
but
forgot to
thank you.
ask you, is that your company or is it a company you're affiliated with?
It's a company I'm affiliated with. Believe it or not, the owners of the company, there's three of them. They're a fireworks company. I've worked for them for the last 18 years. And they the primary owner called me up on a Friday night and said, "Hey, what do you know about these drone shows?" And by Monday, not only did I have an answer for him, but I had a solution and I had a timeline in place for him. And we just ran with it, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I could see a fireworks show saying, "Oh, this is the new way to do shows now.
Yep.
Like this is
Yeah.
let's ride the wave."
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. I get to blow shit up and I get paid for it. Now I get to fly drones and get paid for it. So
That is
There you
really
go.
I was gonna go to school for that, but I decided to try to do flying. And
Well,
Very
all right,
you.
guys.
thank you, Ryan.
nice having you on the
appreciate it.
show, Mary.
Thanks
Very
Thanks
nice
so
to
much
meet
for
you.
having me. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Merry
Good night,
Christmas.
everyone.
That one. Will Fly, thank you again, buddy. We appreciate you. Linda Anderson,
Yes,
thank you
Will.
so much. Mike Krotchick, thank you very much. Jim Smard, thank you very much. We appreciate everybody, and we hope to see you guys soon. Don't forget to go over to Paramotor Arkansas and get the free stickers before the end of the year. Have a good one, and peace out.
Peace. Later.